Ugh. Yeah. Push. Oh hey, what's going on there? Looking kinda weak. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Storytime with Daraja. Today's story is about ghosts and the power of family. Let's get right into it.
Once upon a time, there were 3 dudes, and one of them died. And the other 2 were like, oh no, he's like totally dead. Whack. And they decided to throw a funeral. They were all skater dudes, so it was a skater funeral, and they skated the coffin down a hill. But not just any hill, they skated it down Dragon Murderer Hill, which is a hill that was full of dragons and murderers. Normally nobody would skate down that hill, but skater tradition is that you skate your coffin down it because the dragons cremate you and the murderers leave you alone because you're already dead. So they went ahead and they did that. However, the dragons had a rager party last night, and they were like too hungover to even look at a coffin, so they let the coffin skate by, and the murderers again didn't do anything because the dude was already dead. So the coffin did a whole triple axle backflip, mega flip, which absolutely stunned everybody who was watching. And then the body flew out of the coffin and landed completely upright, holding the skateboard as if nothing had happened. And then some dude from across the street tripped, and his glasses flew all the way across the street onto the dead guy's face. So now you got this dude who looks like he's alive and just survived Dragon Murderer Hill, which is crazy. So he became super famous. He got all the girls, he got all the skateboards, he got a gold-plated skateboard, and he was doing interviews with Oprah and Ellen, and yeah, he was just killing it. But nobody knew that he was dead. They just assumed he was so cool that he didn't want to talk or move, and he didn't want to bathe because he got really smelly. So one day, they took him to X Games, and he's doing his thing, he's flopping around, and everyone's like, wow, this dude's doing such good moves. But then they hear a weird noise coming from behind them, and it was like, yo, this is super whack, dog. And they're like, what? And they turn around, and it's the dude's ghost. And they're like, oh my gosh, bro, you're a ghost. And he's like, yeah, bro, this is super whack. I can't have peace because y'all been messing around with my body, and the dragons didn't cremate me because they were having a rager, dog. And everyone was like, whoa, dude, that's kind of whack. So they took his body and they put it back to rest. But now it was September, and the dragons go vacationing between September and November, so they had no way to cremate this guy because they were all relying on the dragons. Okay, so what they do? They took the coffin, and they barbecued it. They were really hungry anyways, so they also just threw some burgers on the grill with this dude's coffin, and they were like, yep, this is great, barbecue, BBQ. And the ghost was like, yeah man, this is alright, I don't mind being barbecued just as long as I get cremated and my ashes get turned into a skateboard deck. So that's what they did. They pressed down his ashes into a skateboard deck, and he could now skate his own ashes because he was still a ghost. He didn't know why he couldn't go back. So the 2 dudes came, they showed up one day, and they were like, dude, you're a skating ghost. And he was like, yep, and I'm more famous than even before. And they're like, okay, that's whack though, because why don't you pass on to the other side? And he was like, I don't know, I'm just out here, I'm just doing my best, I'm just skateboarding. And the 2 dudes are like, bro, we'll help you pass on. So they start looking into it, they start trying to figure it out. They look through all his girlfriends, and he's like, nope, I don't need to talk to any of my girlfriends. And they talk to his parents, and his parents are like, nope, that's probably the best kid we ever had, those other 2 kids suck. He had a brother and a sister, and so he didn't. That wasn't why. So he went to ghost therapy for a couple of years, trying to figure himself out, and he figured out that he never actually wanted to be a skater. Skating was just a very large part of society that he got forced into. He wanted to be a ghost. That's what he found out. And actually being a ghost, he was at peace. But for him to pass on would mean he's no longer a ghost, which means he would be a ghost because he wouldn't be at peace. And so because of the paradox, he was stuck in limbo for eternity. So, he's immortal, he's a ghost, he's living on life. His two friends die, which is whack, and they didn't want to be ghosts, they wanted to be skaters, so they passed on, so he was all alone. And, after 100 years, he got kind of lonely, he was just kind of like bored. So some girl comes up one day, and she's like, "Hey, Mr. Ghost, why are you always chilling around? You look super sad." And he was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm sad. And she was like, "Okay, how can I cheer you up?" And he was like, "I need a ghost girl. I need me a ghost bae so we can go on ghost dates." And the girl, she wasn't really into him. She didn't really like him. She thought he was kind of ugly. But she had a friend who was super into ghosts. Her friend was a medium. Although everybody can talk to ghosts in this universe, her friend specifically just decided to be a medium. So him and the friend go on a blind date, and they're talking it up, and it turns out in her spare time, she also likes to skate. The ghost guy, he didn't really like to skate that much, but he did know how to skate because he spent his whole life doing it. So it was a nice little interesting conversation they were having on their first blind date. And it actually went on for a very long time, a couple of years, before they decided maybe they wanted kids, but ghosts can't have kids. So they adopted a kid who was traumatized at the age of 3 because everybody in his house blew up and they were all ghosts and they were constantly following him around and parenting him. And so he was like, I already got like 5 ghosts on me, what's one more? And he joins the family. So now it's this lady, her adopted son, his adopted dad who's a ghost, and then 5 more ghosts who are the old family of the kid, and they're all living in this giant mansion. Because the ghost guy is still super famous for being a skateboarding ghost, and so he's just living the dream. So this random executive from Ghost Channel, which is a channel for ghosts, decided he wanted to make a sitcom out of it. It's a perfect sitcom situation. So that's what they did. They set up a sitcom, they just recorded everybody. It was actually more of a reality show, and they just watched them as they lived their lives. So this kid, he got really used to the fame, the fortune and stuff, and then his adopted mom dies, and now that ghost dude has a ghost wife, he's actually ready to pass on with her to the other side. So they dip, and the kid's super rich because he inherited all their money, and so his family was like, "Oh, all he's ever wanted for you to be successful, and now you're super rich." So they pass on to the other side, and now this kid's all alone. So he's super sad. He's got no more ghost people around to keep him company. All he's got is a room chock full of money, like Scrooge McDuck. So, he decides he's gonna jump in like Scrooge McDuck into the money. So he does. And he actually drowns because he realizes all those years with all those ghosts don't swim. Ghosts actually very much hate water, so he's never been to the beach or a pool, so he can't swim. So he drowns in the money, and now he's a ghost. And he just passes on to the other side as well to go see his family. But when they all pass on, it turns out that reincarnation is real, and they all just get reincarnated as different people, and they meet up again because they remembered everything, and they become best friends for life. That's the end. It's a happy ending. They all live happily ever after. The end.